What's happening, guys? Welcome back to episode 7, picking up from the Nexus. So now that we have wrapped up with the smithing grounds, we are ready to hop on over to World 3-1 at the Prison of Hope. So before we do, just to kind of go over a few things here, looking at our upgrades in between episodes, once we did complete the smithing grounds, we were able to get our longbow up to that +7 mark, so we are set up for the lava bow once we are able to gain access to that boss weapon. Now, as mentioned, you don't want to take it past this point, otherwise you're just on the regular upgrade path. And if you do that, you're gonna have to use a meltstone, bring it all the way back down to base, and put 7 more upgrades, right? So you don't want to miss out. Now with what we had left over, we were able to get the claymore to +2, so I'll be using that moving forward for a little bit. This is not going to be our main weapon, however, until we get something that I want to use more, then this will, carry us just fine. Now, getting over to the Prison of Hope, this is going to be a magic zone. You're going to be dealing with a lot of magic enemies. Now, the Adjudicator Shield has magic damage at 50 instead of, I think this is only at like 30, so we'll have a little bit more protection from that magic. Aside from that, do keep in mind, guys, you do have your Ring of Great Strength. If you guys would like to put on beefier armor, you'll be able to get away with a little bit, but we still need to get that stamina up more before you're going to be able to put on the better sets. Now, I wouldn't recommend it. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. This is, not going to give us much protection. However, having on the clean ring for extra health and the thief ring is going to make life much easier. Aside from that, I would go over here with as much ammo as possible. In fact, we're going to pick up more. I'll probably just spend the rest of my souls on ammo, try to tide us over for a while. The elite enemies here can lock you down very well and kind of stun lock you. And if we can take them out from range, it's going to be very advisable. 123. I love it. Like I said, I'm going to go all in. Levels will come, not so worried about it. But either way, now that we have that, we are good to jump on over. So the Prison of Hope, navigation-wise, can be a little bit of a nightmare. You're going through a prison, there's multiple keys, there's going to be multiple cells. So as far as, where to go and when, this can be quite difficult. And then even just the navigation in general. So when you go out the cell, over here on the right, that gate, that's actually how you progress. However, you need to go all the way this way first and then somehow know to backtrack. So, like I said, it can be a little tedious. So as far as the items, I wouldn't worry about picking anything up. We have to get our keys and backtrack, so we're just going to do it pretty much completely backwards once we get where we want to be. So like I said, if you have range, we can try to take out our succubus over here. I always forget her real name. But she has 2 things. Ooh, +7's 2-shot, and I love it. She has a blue spell and a green spell. Blue spell does a bunch of damage, knocks her on your ass. We all know how long it takes to get back up. So that will lock you down quite well. Then the green spell literally ties you in your spot, like locks you up, and then she'll come munch on your face, do a bunch of fucking damage, and neither one is good. So like I said, if we can take her down from range, it's going to be highly advisable. So as we make our way down, you should see your key kind of just glowing right here. So make sure you pick that up. Now this is going to be your best area to farm up your spice. Age spice, fresh spice for those caster builds. While World 1 is farming healing, World 2 upgrade match, right? So it's just kind of good to know what's where. I guess we can go ahead and grab this, although we could have waited until, on our way back. I guess it's just habit. But yeah, you'll get a hero soul right there. Then you're eventually going to see this hallway. Now what we're going to do is work our way all the way around. Usually she's down a little bit more, but that's okay. We'll get her. 2 shots. There we go. We're going to work our way all the way down until we can't, and then, like I said, we'll just backtrack at that point. So, a few more keys to pick up. Let's take him. Now, this area is definitely going to feel like the biggest area because so much is packed into here. So, we're going to be moving right along. So, we're trying to fit it all into this episode. But with that being said, I'm going to try to do it in a way where no one gets lost. Right now, it's pretty much straightforward. Go down till you can't, pick up your keys, turn around, pop all your cells, go back through. When we get to the more confusing areas, we will try to slow it down a bit. But, like I said, there's a lot packed in here. So, eventually, you're going to get all the way down where your renowned warrior soul is. You're going to see this little gate, and there's a hole in the ground. That is as far as you can take it. So, once we get to that point, as long as you picked up your 2 keys, you have everything we need to start working our way back down, popping all of our cells, then getting all of your items. Now, I do recommend a bow, even if you're a mage build. Some cells will have bodies that are kind of hanging. Now, you can try to shoot them down with your spell, but the thing of it is you're not aiming for the body, you're aiming for the chain. And since you can't really lock on with spells, this can be a little difficult. It doesn't have to be upgraded, just something to shoot the bodies down with. But yeah, I would like to make sure we recommend that. But we recommended a bow for our build, and that's what I said. There's a reason why we typically recommend things, right? I never thought to check that in my notes. I did not think anything was there, just in case. You could also kind of kill these enemies through the cells. So if you're worried about it, right? And even if cells are empty, we're going to pop them anyways, because we're going to be thorough. We're going to clear every single thing there is, so no one has to worry about, whether we missed something or not, right? Silver Cornet does give you a little bit more mind, and it's really light, more mana rather, so we're going to go and put that on, give you a little bit more of your spell casting. I love when they just wind up. I wouldn't even try and do a backstab. He just threw himself in the way. It's awesome. Alright, so right here, like I said, you want to aim for the chain, and that will get you the item. This one's okay. Typically, it's just cleansing consumables for poison or plague, but bright water will restore mana over time. Spice, they always drop spice. And that's the hallway to take us back. But before we do want to take this all the way down. Mercury. So you're going to start getting access to 2 new upgrade mats here. You have Mercury and then you have Moon. Moon is actually a second type of magic confusion. There's 2. Mercury will be for poison weapons. And like I said, we still have to get through the first portion of every world. Then we'll get access to all type of your upgrades. Then I'm going to do a bonus episode showing off, like I said, farms and going over weapon upgrades and paths to take and all that stuff. But until we get all of our worlds, we're not going to have all the upgrade types, so I don't want to talk about it too much, but we'll, just kind of give you a little bit of insight here and there. Because not everybody has their stuff yet, Like I said, guys, we're just working our way back. About half your cells are empty, half have items. Regardless, we're still popping them all, right? So feels like a big waste of time sometimes, but it's just a way to be sure. Now, there are going to be some NPCs you can free and some you cannot. There are just world tendency events later on. So if there's like for instance, there's one NPC we can't free. You have to do all of World 3, then come back for your Black World Tendency. So I just want people to know, it's not that we're missing things, it's just we don't have access to all of this right now. So there will be a few cells we cannot get, but in general, you're going to get about 90% of them. So once we get, wrapped up with World 3, we'll be coming back and getting all this done for you. I don't even see you, little booger. It should be about where we started. So right there, that's your bonfire. Empty. And there's one more item over here. The cell's not even locked. You just gotta pick that up. There you go. Augite of Guidance. That just kind of lights the path. Typically, you'll drop those to keep track of where you've been in maze-like areas. That way you're like, oh, I dropped that shiny there. I know not to, go back that way. Alright, so we're going to have one more corridor to go through. Then things will get a bit more confusing. So, same thing here, guys. We're going to want to get our key. Then we'll be going back through. Now, don't, not worried about the atoms, not worried about the cells. So as far as progression, that's going to be right here. That's what's going to take us to our next area. So we're going to have to kind of overlap ourselves, going back to the start for ourselves, then, come here. If we can get her now, do it. It's going to save you, a lot of grief later. You cannot hit her here with your arrow, though. It's got to be physical. No. Well, even if you could lock me down, it wouldn't matter. Can't get us. But that's one less, one less one for later. Now be cautious, you're not out of the woods yet. So what you're going to be looking for is this cell right here that kind of really opens up to a really big room. If you see that, you're in the right place. So don't worry about getting anything just yet. We're about to take care of another succubus. And you can also go to photo mode. Then you can just kind of peer in and see where this witch is. There we go. Like I said, don't worry about any of this stuff. We do have to come back through. So once you get right here, you're going to see a hole. You cannot progress any further. This is our spot to stop, right? Just like we did before. So now we can start backtracking. We'll get our items, get our key, and just start closing all this out. So your key's going to be right here. Actually, both of them, but still. they're together. Now, right here, do not pop this. There's two contraptions like this. These are like torture devices. There's a bunch, but there's two that have enemies that's gonna jump out, punch you, and poison you. I'm gonna show this once so you guys know you're not missing anything. You see what he did there? So there's two instances of this happening. That's the first. So when we come up to the second one, so everyone now believes me, I'm gonna say, hey, do not open this because that's what's gonna happen, and you guys have seen it play out once. So from here on out, we're good into like the last little room that we go into, because all these other ones have items that you're going to want to get. There's also going to be a bunch of bodies to drop down. I'll probably go and put this on. For now, we'll switch it up later, but it's so light. It's only 1 pound, so we could finally have some kind of armor on. You know, it may not be the prettiest thing, but it's something. We actually have full coverage, so we will go ahead and throw this on for now. There's another one towards the end of the zone that looks a little bit better. It actually has some kind of armor plates on it and stuff, so we'll switch to that when we get it, but at least for now we have something. So, alright, so from there, we're going to drop that down just to show there's nothing here, but you know, just go to the left, we'll close that loop. Now we can start working our way back on down. So do keep in mind, we have to pass the door we're going to take to get the rest of our items, then we'll be taking it. This is another big room, guys. You rush in, you might be fucked. Yep. I know it's like a bunch of weak enemies, sure, but that's the thing. There's a bunch. Alright. You can see these guys kind of grouped up. Just go up, smack them. They're in these little bases, another type of torture device. But you can get some consumables. You're going to get the souls for killing them. And we don't want to leave anyone on the table, so to speak, right? We want them all gone. All gone. Right. You should go out to the right. Yep. So like I said, this is going to be your path to progression. I wouldn't even worry about opening it yet. Kind of just use that as a marker. Guide of guidance if you're really worried about it. But we're just going to go all the way back to the start. And there's one more big room that like really opens up. Maybe a few stragglers. There we are. Secret dagger. There we go. Claws. It's gonna be a dex weapon. Not bad if you're into, you know, more dexterous weapons like that, right? Because it's not gonna have much range, but it's gonna be very, very quick. I'm pretty sure it does blood loss in this game. Usually it does in the other Souls-likes, but I don't know about this one. Yeah, 120. Since this was the first Souls-like ever in existence, you know, I assumed it did then too, but you don't know, because, you know, it's been so long, right? It could have changed. This could be one of the things they changed. Alright, guys, so going on in here. Oh, we do have to get on the other side, that's right. Hold on. Remember, aim for the chain. We'll go ahead and drop him. Pop this. This one's safe. Like I said, the only other instance where a guy's going to jump out, it's the very last one we're going to get to. And I'll point it out. There's going to be like 4 of these torture devices. We'll call them canisters. 4 canisters. There'll be 3 grouped together, 1 off on its own. Just remember, the 1 off on its own is the trap, right? The 3 will be fine. So it should be coming up very shortly. So that puts you all the way back at the start, guys. So we have officially closed that whole loop. Now we can go pop our door. And good news is, since you already killed the second bitch, we don't have to worry about her either. She's, I mean, undoubtedly the worst part of this whole fucking experience. And there's a few of them. Like, we killed one here, but in your very next room, there would be another one waiting on you. So, like I said, just be cautious. There's more spice right here, too, guys. You got breakthrough. Easy to run past that. Alright. Now, she patrols. She could be in the far left. She could, oh, I see her already. Thank you, bitch. Yeah, that's so she could be patrolling all the way over there. She could be much closer. What the fuck? Yeah, it's a little bit of range, you know what I mean? It's a little bit away. So over here on the left will be how we progress. We're not going to do that just yet. We're going to stay to the right-hand side and take this as far as we can, which is like right here. There's a hole in the floor right there. You can't go any further. But either way, this is a merchant. She
Must
does
be
sell a
very
lot of the
efficient.
mage stuff and the Ring of
Very
Avarice,
magical.
which you do need for a platinum. So if you were to go over here to all, Ring of Avarice, obtain more souls when slaying enemies. Gives you 20% more souls, which is phenomenal. And you do need it for your platinum trophy. But we get this for free in World 3 too. So I wouldn't spend 50,000 souls just to get more souls when I'll get it for you anyways. You don't have to spend shit. So I would just be patient on that one. Even if you are farming, this is not far away, guys. Full moon grass, fresh spice, age spice, noble and widow's lotus, so poison plague cleanse. I got a guidance, moonlight stone shard. So you have two different weapon infusions for magic. You either have crescent or you have moon. Crescent gets rid of all physical scaling, gives you really good magic scaling, but also mana regeneration on your weapon. As long as your weapon is out, you are steadily restore mana, albeit slow, but still. Then Moon, the path of the Moon, is retaining some of your strength and dex scaling, so it has higher base damage. So you'll still get a decent amount of physical with scaling, and then a really good amount of magic damage, but you don't get any mana regeneration. That's the difference between the two.
Well,
Then there's a
that's quite
few
alright.
like mage type weapons. Weapons will work good for a mage, like a rapier, thrusting weapon, because you guys are going to want to be quick, right? So either way, as soon as you go out of there, get your renowned hero. But yeah, go ahead and interact if you guys want some healing or whatever the case may be. It's there. All right, we got another pretty open room here. If you notice, I'll typically like just kind of jump in, jump out. Yeah, there we go. Then we can try to aggro him if it lines up. Damn, how did I swing through the wall and fuck them all up? That's great. Alright, we're gonna drop him. Lotus. Should be 3 bodies, but only 1 gets shot down. Or was it 2? Okay. Regardless, we're good. Then if you just run straight, that's another gate that's gonna allow you to progress. But there should be 1 more room. So this is where your trap is. So as I previously stated, for 1, it's gonna shoot him. It's gonna be your last body. We're shooting down. If I can hit it, it's a little dark. It's a little dark in here. Let's go get him. This one right here, that's the trap. Hit it if you want. If you don't believe me, you know, have fun with it. But I promise you that it's a trap. I get worried about that sometimes because anybody could be doing a walkthrough like, oh, trust me, you don't have to go this way. And it could be just because they don't know something, right? Then people are worried they're missing stuff and they fall for traps. So I hate saying, oh, just trust me, bro, but literally, just trust me. I showed it the first time just so you guys knew, right? But me being a new channel, I don't want someone thinking I'm full of shit or missing items. Can't have it. So, try to be very, very thorough. Either way, guys, now that we have cleared all that, we are good to go. Now, this is where it really gets confusing. I'm going to show you why. Because typically, you'd start going down here, and oh, let me just follow this around. What you don't realize is there's super sneaky paths, like stairwell tucked under the stairwell. And there's a few instances of this we'll show you. So before we take our sneaky path, I like to call it, if you go down here, you will be able to open this cell, but the next one's going to have a NPC called Sage Frake. Sage Frake is your special merchant for magic builds. This is where you turn in boss souls for some of the most powerful spells in the game. However, we need the special key, which we will not get to before, until right before the boss. So Sage is right here. Appears to be locked, so you cannot access. You have a hole in the floor, so we can't go this way. But it's just important to remember this little area for later on, more than anything else. So now we'll take our sneaky stairs. And that is the NPC we can free. Now I told you there's one we can't. I'll show you that too. So once you pop this door, there's going to be 2 little gates. You have one right here. Make sure you get your key. Sneaky key. Where are you at? Already passed it. Yep, on the right. Yeah, I ran past that one forever. I could not find it. Either way, then you have this gate. So both of those are an area known as the Warden's Path. They're shortcuts to the boss, essentially, and they are tied in together. But we don't have the key for it yet, so don't worry about it. Now from here, you just pop this gate and go down the stairs here. See a fog wall. Enter. Now this will take us where we're going to progress and finish up the zone. Now over here is part of a Black World Tendency event. So we cannot do this yet. I do believe I have to check my notes kits later. I think there's a White World Tendency event here as well. So you have one succubus. We gotta pop her. And then you're gonna hear a guy kind of screaming for help. He's right here. So we cannot do his quest until we've completed the whole world of 3, and then we'll do our tendency events, and that's where his quest comes along. But not just him. You're also going to notice like cells and items over here. Well, these rocks do not exist in world tendency events, so just stuff we have to come back to. Once again, nothing we're missing, just something we can't do for quite a while. So what we're going to do instead is backtrack, take your sneaky stairs. And the more time you spend here, the more you'll understand the place. It is exceptionally confusing to me. I'm just going off of my first playthrough. I remember it very well, and you know, it was a fucking nightmare for me. I was chasing I probably was here 3 hours. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Get me out of this place. I did not enjoy it. So as soon as we go down, right over here, you're gonna see this big ball. It's actually a bunch of people. He can't shoot magic, but if you get close, like I said, it's a bunch of people. So if you get close, what's going to happen is it's a bunch of guys with swords will put their armor out, and they'll kill you in like 2 fucking seconds. You see it glow blue, just back up. But we should put them down really quickly with those. +7 bow. And we're not going to go that way just yet, but we will. First, we're just going to go ahead and knock out a little bit of optional stuff. Pretty much the way this is set up is there's like 2 loops with cells, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to close off the first section, which is everything you see in this little block. Then on the other side of that room, there's another one. So pretty simple. Just loop around, grab the goodies, and you know, get on out. Once again, most of them are going to be empty. We're still going to be thorough and show you guys we're not missing anything. Probably not most. Probably like half are empty and half have items, right? So. Stop laughing. Little prick. Alright, so right over here is the fluted set and then the silver bracelets. Silver bracelets are specifically meant for a female character. It's kind of what I was talking to you guys about at the start of the walkthrough. That there's certain items and armor only male or female can wear. Now the armor set here I actually do want to pick up. So, because of that, I'm going to send a bunch of stuff to storage real quick. So I thought I'd do this between episodes, or maybe I just meant to. Send that, definitely send that. We can always pull that out when we need it. Just in case. No, yeah, we want to keep that for the boss. That would have been a mistake. I'll keep doing that. Yeah, so if I try to put on those bracelets, it just wouldn't let me. Honestly, this should be good. Fluted. There we go. So, fluted set. The leggings probably look better and they're lighter. So, like I said, it doesn't really look bad. We can even put on the fluted greaves too, or gauntlets. So it doesn't look bad. Probably the closest thing to armor we're going to have for a bit, right? Are you really fat rolling? Why? Huh. I swear it's the same setup I had in my notes. Oh, the claymore. Fucking claymore, bro. That's lighter. Oh, I was about to say. Sometimes it takes a second to register. I'm like, that's lighter. What the fuck? What we just had. So it's like super fucking close. 21 stamina would be fine. Alright. Either way. Put on what we can. Like I said, once we get to the point where like our damage is good and we can start bringing up that health, start bringing up that stamina, we'll be able to put on better armor. But there are still a few light sets that are not bad whatsoever, you know, this being one. Alright, so that's where that big ball is. You made a full circle there. There's a few gentlemen here. Your Pot Bros, right? We're going to kill Mr. Pot Bros. They eat spice. Make sure you don't have any drops. Now, well, I guess I could show it on the way out. It's okay. We're going to take this next left. I will say, when you get to the other side, you see that crystal lizard. There is a hole in the floor. If you chase him down, you might get caught. That's our next turn, but I'm going to call it out ahead of time. I'll remind you guys, but I'm going to go ahead and call it out now too, in case anyone's like moving ahead of me for whatever reason. So mostly what you're going to be going over here is for a sneaky outdoor path, which is going to lead you to the S-Stock, which is a weapon, and some upgrade mats for magic. Now over here to the right, there's a hole. That's the other side of where we're going to see that lizard. But for now, just break through all this. Another sneaky little path. Going out to the right, follow this around, get your S-Stock. There you go. So those, thrusting weapons go really well with mage builds. I keep saying that because you're kind of like poking the enemy and then keeping your distance, and mages aren't the tankiest builds. That's kind of why. Well, you always get like magic rapiers and magic S-Stocks in these type of games. So that, that could make a decent magic weapon. Although anytime I did a magic build, I liked magic great swords and, stuff like that. But to each his own, I guess. Alright, so remember, we are going to have to backtrack down the same aisle we took, and that's simply because of the fact that there's a fucking hole in the ground. So as we go on down, right over here on the right, you're going to see this gate. Now you can open this. It's going to take you upstairs to another gate that is locked. Now this involves that guy you just saw that I said we had to wait to roll tendency. Well, this whole area goes with that. So don't worry about it for now. It's a waste of time. There's nothing that we could get. We're locked out. So you can run at him a little bit, just don't let him get too far up the road here. What the fuck? Can we just hit the fucking guy? I mean, it's for magic weapons, but still. So Moonlight Stone Shard times 3. And so you had a little bit more, you could have made it. But you just gotta be really, really cautious, guys. Very, very cautious. But with that has brought you full circle. Now we're like the back third of this zone. We're getting really close to the boss. With that, there's still a few things. So, a few things to cover. One really big pain in the ass hidden trophy that we need to get. It sucks a pain in the ass to get. We're going to show you guys how, but it's pretty horrible. And that's it. That is the ballista. So we gotta shut this thing down, and we'll cover it, but first we're gonna go grab our items. So as soon as you get up here, you go all the way to the left, you're gonna see a little break in the rail. This is not gonna feel good, by the way, but you're gonna run all the way down. Get you the Mercury Rapier. This is a rapier that does poison damage. So Mercury in this game is gonna be your poison. Try to show that off real quick. As you see, poison damage at 120, so it's just like blood loss, right? Damage over time. Than pure physical, so more of a dex type thing. Although poison gets its own scaling, but I haven't really made a poison build in Demon Souls. They don't really stand out, if you know what I mean, compared to anything else. So don't hold me to the dex part, but typically that's how it always is. More of a dex thing, because you want to be quick. You want to build that up fast. So from there, you're gonna see your ballista here. It shoots 2 ballista bolts back to back. Now, you could get the key for the warden stores, and then what you're going to do is, it sucks. What you're going to do is work your way all the way from the start, take the warden's path, put you right behind the bill so you can shut it off. However, like I said, there's a hidden achievement for rolling through this and getting to shut it down yourself. And all you have to do is, a lot of people say they go by the visuals, so when they see the ballista, they roll, slight gap in between each. I go by the sound. So that's all you gotta do. Now once you get close enough, like you're like 2 of those pillars away, it's actually over your head and can't really hit you, but it's very difficult. And while we are gonna cover this, we're not gonna cover it just yet. So instead, just run straight across, drop very carefully here. Get your eyes. There's some more we'll pick up soon. Now sometimes, as I told you before, depending on how tall a ledge is, sometimes you have to hit circle, sometimes you just walk. So just use your analog. Do not hit circle, because if you do, you'll climb that ledge, then just jump to your death. I don't know why it happens, but it does. It's happened to me. It's ridiculous, so I'm going to mention it. It happened to me. I'm like, what the fuck? You're supposed to climb a circle. But if a ledge is lower, you don't have to. You just hit the directional pad, right? And that's kind of one of those things. Alright, so now the part I'm dreading the most, and then the fact that I have my little kitten to sleep on my lap is going to make it more difficult. I gotta hold like my legs crossed and shit. Like I said, guys, I go off the sound, right? So don't run. Everyone and their mom. Oh, they got us. If the first one hits you, the second one will too. Now I dodged very early there. I gotta move my cat. Love you, baby, but we gotta move you right now. But 1 second. 1 quick second. Alright, guys, sorry. We're just gonna quickly run through this again. We've already cleared it all. So I guess that's good too because we can show you the path. Typically our episodes a little bit smoother. We'll get it. Like I said, it's a pain in the ass. I've already got my trophies, so I don't, as long as I tell you guys, I feel like that's good enough. But, I want to show all this stuff. So that's when it comes to the harder things in the game. I want to show you guys. Now, it should be... Hey, you guys are so far your league. Even with my unupgraded weapon. Well, it's +2. Or bow's +7. That's what my weapon could be. Dumbass. So they shoot an arrow in your back, you're looking to the right. Where'd that come from? I love it. Dodge. Nope. Yeah, that +7 arrow bow's also helping with this shit too. So as soon as you get to this point, you're gonna go to your left. You're just gonna run all the way down. Take her sneaky stairs. Sneaky stairs. Alright. I'm not worried about fighting him again. We're just gonna run past him. Alright, there we are. Let's do it again. Luckily, my souls were pretty easy to get. Alright, see that delay? Like I said, I go off sound. No! Yeah, right at the end. Right at the end. Yeah, I got a little antsy there. And honestly, you don't need your shield. If you guys want to strip off some weight, it wouldn't hurt. However, like, if you don't have it lined up anyways, you don't have it lined up. So I don't think it's really going to matter. But it could. It could. It might help you. But what I was trying to say is I've seen people online swearing that you need to run for that. I've never ran. Well, actually, no. I tried to listen to it when I was struggling, and then running got me killed quicker. So I wouldn't run. If you could roll through the first few cycles and then run at the end, that might work. But I would never recommend running at the start here, guys. Let's try to do this again. Like I said, it's kind of inconvenient too because we were having such a smooth run, but it just, it's gotta be covered. I mean, you guys know, right? You know the information, so it doesn't really matter as long as I verbally cover it, but it's just, I want to try to show you guys what works for me. Usually I'll get it first try, second try. In fact, ooh, wrong way. Remember, you gotta take the sneaky stairs all the way down. I still make that mistake, that's why I call it out to you guys. I still make it myself. I could just take the easy way, but unfortunately, I do want to show you guys what works for me. But like I said, usually first, second try, I get it. However, I say this all the time, when I play games of my own time, I don't make many mistakes. But as soon as I start recording, I guess it's just because of the distraction. I don't know. Anything that can go wrong does. Where people always talk about someone having YouTuber luck, I have the opposite. So when I'm recording, everything goes right instead of going. I mean, most of the time it's smooth, but that's just because I've gotten very good at what we're doing. As far as luck, I don't have the best. said, gap in between. Go by sound. Yeah, I didn't expect it to one-shot us. Usually oh, because it broke our stance, we take more damage. Yeah, usually one will hurt you, the second kills you. I had it that time too. I shouldn't have just done that. I got impatient. I was like, oh, I'll just block and run. Cost us all of our souls. Once again, needs to be done. Thank you. Yeah, sorry guys. Yeah, I'm trying. I don't even have to cover it as long as I tell you guys. But like I said, I'm gonna try to make sure you guys see what works. At least so far, you see what hasn't worked. We got that. I'm not one of those people that will edit out my mistakes, you know. Leave it for everybody to see. Helps normalize me. If I go through and everything's easy, that's probably not going to help anybody. You know what I mean? Probably not going to help much. We'll try it this way. Like I said, I usually don't have an issue. First, second try at most. I think we've already done 3 and still took the wrong fucking turn. Yeah, it does suck to lose all those fucking souls, I'm not gonna lie. Because we've been holding on, like, to every little amount we've had. I was like, well, I'll just shut it off and get it on the way back. No big deal. See what I'm saying? You could eat one. Alright, run. They can't hit you here. Alright, so that's how you do it. I felt like we had that the first time even, but I know the last one I deserved for sure. There's no denying that. Yeah, they try to run past real quick. But I thought we had it lined up, but guess not. Either way, usually got it pretty dialed in, and so would you. It's not that bad when you just learn. I think the best thing is to not freak out. Just take it slow, roll. Walk the whole time, right? Roll, pause, roll. Remember, there's a slight delay, so I hope that helps. But yes, a lot of people swear by trying to run. I think you got too much going on. Run's the same button as dodge. You're also trying to maintain your stamina. So if you're just running, and then you have to try to remember to hold that down again, so slow start to run again. I think that's going to get you caught. So what I've always done is I've always walked. When I hear it, I dodge, wait 1 second, dodge. That's what I do, you know, and it worked. But like I said, it just didn't line up the best for us before, unfortunately. Either way, guys, getting over here, that's the main boss story. We're going to have an evasion event. I do want to check our time. 40 minutes. It's going to be tight, but we're going to try to wrap this up. So what we're going to do is go to the left. I would close your eyes, just count to like 5, because you will get vertigo badly. You're actually going to get a fucking headache from this. Because we have to do this 3 times. We have to run up, run down, run up. So the last time we'll be able to drop off, so it won't be so bad, but yeah. It is important to do the left side first, because the right side drops you down into your fight. Matter of fact, for our fight, we want to go with something faster. This enemy's going to do plague buildup, supercharged poisons, really nasty stuff. So this is actually going to lead you to a little bit of a better looking armor set. There are very elite enemies in World 1-3. Kind of like assassin type dudes instead of knights, but this is what they're gonna wear. So for one, you have your silver catalyst. Again with this shit. Let's send that to storage. Send that to storage. Storage. That storage. 14, 5. We had like 20 of those. That should be good enough. There we go. Doesn't look bad, right? Decent little set for now. We got the weight, so we're good. Alright, so now we got that. We're going to run down the stairs and go up the other set. This episode go over a little bit. There's a lot packed in this area. There's a lot going on. And obviously dying 3 times to the ballista did not, really help. But I do believe we can get pretty much all of this area in one. I was going to do 2 episodes out of it, but I just didn't think the second episode would get filled up. Because it's like we have an invasion, we have the boss, and we have an NPC to free. And that's it, that's really it. So instead, we're just going to try to go over a little bit and get it all wrapped up. But we still do have the Warden's Path as well, y'all. So now, which that's the Warden's Path, don't go out that side. This actually like runs underneath the stairs, so if you go out the wrong way, that'll be the Warden's Path. So if you get back to this little corridor here, this is what you're looking for. Then we're going to go up the other stairs. Once again, if you guys want to close your eyes, it's probably like 6-7 seconds. Maybe longer. It's a little bit longer than I remember. Alright. So when we go up, you're going to see a little break on the left-hand side where you can drop down the rail. That's going to be our path out, so we'll hit it on the way down. So if you do not do this, the boss is going to keep being respawned by a mage we're about to see. So this is actually really important, not to mention if you do not get the key here to free Sage Frake, then you're not going to be able to turn in your boss souls for really powerful spells. Really powerful spells. So you can talk to this guy if you want.
What do you want?
I want that. But ultimately, we need to kill him. With that, you're going to get your Prison of Hope special key to free Sage Frake. And now we're good. So what we're going to be doing is dropping down this rail. There's going to be, I think, 3 cleanses for Plague. And then we're going to drop to the very bottom and get into this invasion. Now, the problem is a lot of times you'll drop, this enemy will hit you with 1 crossbow bolt and kill you. And then we have, the big-ass run back. So we're hoping that this is, going to go our way. So I would go ahead and, put those on as a backup. I like to roll towards the left. Just get ready to block immediately. If she starts with that, we're in trouble here. And she's also going to be using Plague buildup. And she also has these fucking buckler shield. She can parry you, right? So all of this is a problem. Just try to get in, get out, avoid the crossbows. The bolts. That's one of the biggest things. You can try to stun lock her, but just like that, she can parry you, so just hold up your shield right after and we can get right back. Kind of a pain in the ass. Alright, we're all impressed. Thank you. I got, gets to a point where you're like, yeah, this is over and done with. Alright. So get your stones, Moonlight Stone chunk. And now we can go and take out the Fool's Idol. So like I said, we have a little bit of running around to do with the Warden's Path and to free your NPC, but we're right here. So after this boss, you will be teleported out to your next zone, but then we can just jump back to the start and easily get back to where we want to be. Sorry guys, I hit my drink. So, that's right. Sorry, I was looking at my notes. So there is a weapon in here called the Baby Snail. It's more of a PvP weapon, but if you do not pick this up before the end of the fight, you're going to be teleported out by gargoyles. You will not be able to get this item. It is behind the altar at the very end of the cathedral we go in. Now, even if you come back to this location later on, anytime you try to go for that item, you're still going to get that same cutscene. So, this is called the Baby's Nail. It does build up play, which is pretty cool. But if you do not pick this up before the boss is dead, you will not get this item. Now, this is another boss where you have a trophy for the boss, and then a hidden trophy for killing this boss in a very specific manner. Magic, even though that's what she's doing, that's going to be a solid choice for this fight. So when you walk in, there's going to be a bunch of chairs that we want to break to clear up the arena. But essentially what's going to happen is it's a mage. She could summon little green traps that'll lock you in. It's like almost like lightning. They'll lock you in place so she could spam projectiles at you and mess you up. She can teleport around, and obviously you have the projectiles themselves. So once you do enough damage, she'll teleport. She's going to make a bunch of clones. So you can go kill the clones and get back to her, rinse, repeat, while running around avoiding the traps on the floor and avoiding projectiles. However, there's a hidden trophy for not even touching any of the clones. So the clones will have mini health bars, she will not. So if you lock onto a version of this enemy, the Fool's Idol, and you notice that there's no health, that's the one we want to target. But it's pretty simple. We're really just going to be going in, taking our time, killing all the riffraff enemies, all of the prisoners, breaking up everything on the floor so we have room to run. Then once we start the fight, we're going to grab the Baby's Nail, obviously, but we're going to, do enough damage to her. And when she teleports, we're just running, hiding behind pillars, so we're avoiding all the spells until we figure out which one is which. We're going to go up, smack her a couple times, and she'll keep jumping out. So it's really not that bad, depending on how it goes, depending on how you play it. I have been showing these cutscenes. We do not have the time. Not this episode, so. When it comes to the chairs, we want to break these for later in the fight, right? And you can kind of break the benches, but the bottom part of the bench will always remain. There's a few items to pick up too, like right over here to the left, right when you come in. A spice. I know it seems like these won't bother you. I assure you, you will get stuck on. It's not fun when you have 20 spells coming your way, you know what I mean? So I guess this is probably where they got the idea for, what was it, Crystal Sage in Dark Souls 3. Kind of reminds you of that a bit. And when you get up too close to aggro, you're good for the time being, because hopefully you can pull these guys to you. I might try to use my bow with how much damage it's getting right now. I've never done it that way, but it wouldn't hurt. When you just kind of hide behind the pillars, target the right one, then use the bow. Like I said, I've never done it that way, but we might test it out. I don't want to go to the bow for every fucking problem we have, though. So there's a little lightning that'll tie you down. Like I said, she'll probably just fire some projectiles. So what I like to do first, so I'll try to just run past. Her damage isn't so bad. But get the Baby's Nail while you can, dodge through what you can. 2 hands, you get more damage off. Yeah, there she goes. Now she's teleporting. Alright, see, so there's no health on her. That's our one. Alright, so now the clones should be coming. You're going to try to hide behind the pillars. It's not foolproof. Like, whatsoever. You see what I'm saying? They can still get to you, but it does help out. And just watch the floor traps, right? Don't want to get caught like that, then you're just going to get hit by spells. Typically, she'll go towards, the very back. Let's see what the bow does. Oh, shit, we're getting low. Yep. Hurry! Oh yeah, way more damage. I'm not gonna like tease her and hide behind the pillars the whole time, but I mean it does more damage, guys. Okay. Yeah, they just kind of pop up everywhere. Like I said, even behind the pillars, we can get caught. Is that the one? Nope. Then that's the other thing, you gotta find the right one. Kind of a pain, but we know that's not it. And that's what's really hard because it's just, you're leaving more of them on the table. That's more of them that can cause you harm, right? There she is. So if she jumps away, typically we can try to have the time to heal. Nope. That's not her. You see what I'm saying? So it's a little irritating. We're getting it. So neither one of those. Sometimes she'll go into the front too. Not this time. Sometimes. Hell, she's pretty much been going to the back the whole fight, huh? Gotta do that one. Let's heal. Gotta be that one. Yep. That's for sure. It's the only one left. Damn it, she got us. Yep. It's really difficult as we don't have really many upgrades yet. We still about got our first try, so. But yeah, it's definitely a bit of a pain in the ass. And we're just going to wrap up here. I was really, really itching to fit all this into one. But we have like 9 minutes to get through the fight, to get Sage free, to clear the, the Warden's path. So what we'll do is we'll finish up this area next episode, and then we're just going to wrap up with World 4-1. Because that just really doesn't take long to get through. So we will be able to still progress where we want to be. But I don't want to rush past this when people are probably going to, actually need the help. So with that, we will wrap up here. And we'll catch y'all back for the conclusion of World 3-1. And then we will knock out World 4-1. So y'all stay tuned. We'll catch you back here shortly.